I warm my feet up.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Hello!
So, welcome to the Playfully Brave Journey review. I mean, it's not really a... Welcome to...
Try that again.
One, two, three.
Hello!
Welcome to episode 2. This will probably be my second episode that I'm gonna release on my channel. And it's about, it's the Playfully Brave journey that I've been on. So I recently enrolled and it started on 4th Jan. And it's been really exciting, which is why I wanna vlog my thoughts. For this series, I'm gonna have a guest.
Me!
He's my boyfriend. And I've been telling him a lot about it, and I feel when he's responded, it's been really insightful for me as well, which is why I've dragged him along. A little bit about why I joined. I mean, I kind of found out about Jennifer, who is the creative coach of this program last year, and it was when I just started on my creative journey. I'm not sure if any of you guys know, but I have a doodling account now on Instagram. It's just been something I've really enjoyed. I picked it up over lockdown. It was really nice to start on this journey because as a child I loved art as well. I went for a lot of pottery classes and went for like drawing classes. I did oil painting, the Chinese calligraphy.
Ah yes, calligraphy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I went for those classes as well. I just did a lot of artsy stuff when I was young. Over the years, I've just lost touch with that. I guess the way society has been, it's kind of been just like focus on your studies. Yeah, so art was something that I've neglected for quite a while, and I was very hesitant to start an art account, and it was really a very impulsive decision. Jennifer also has a quiz, so it's about the 4 creative seasons that we have. It's winter, which then leads on to spring, and that leads on to summer, and finally there's harvest time. I'll explain more about the terms later. When I took the quiz, I was actually in winter time. That means I didn't really know what my creative voice meant. So Jennifer's program would help to bridge that no idea what I'm doing kind of feeling. Now, it was just this year after I applied for the program, I've kind of moved into spring, like before I actually enrolled on the program. I've had a lot of ideas that I've wanted to try out, which is essentially what spring is about. My YouTube channel, I started it on 1st Jan of 2021. We also started our couple reviews channel together this year as well. And last year, I also created a blog. So I will link it below. One of my biggest wishes would actually be to change how art is seen in Singapore, and yeah, just bring it to a whole new level where it's like, wow. That's how I feel throughout the whole process.
It's true, the academic landscape in Singapore has been very math, science focused, and art isn't really valued. It's like that extra lesson that you have that you just kind of like use to chill.
Yeah.
It's
true though.
In some schools it isn't even compulsory. I think it depends on the school. I feel like there needs to be a greater creative focus. I do think there is more emphasis on it. We have dedicated arts schools, SOTA, LaSalle, which are kind of encouraging more creative pursuits, which is good. I mean, I see the effort the government is putting in, but of course more can always be done.
Yeah, definitely. I do study in London. I used to before COVID. I mean, I'm currently in Singapore. But just comparing the art scene in London to Singapore made me realize how much potential there is for art in Singapore, and I kind of want to bring it to the level that London is at. I really love how art can make you feel things. I read this quote recently that the intention of art is to make you feel, and I really resonate with that. I do want people to get the same experience out of art in Singapore.
That's nice. That's good.
She adopts a very unique approach where she teaches you to focus on yourself first as an artist before going on to create your artworks. What I really love about Playfully Brave is that it takes an inwards out approach. You focus on harnessing your inner creative soul. We call it soul. Your inner creative being, inner creativeness.
I'm pretty sure the word's creativity. Oh my gosh, let's not vlog at 12 AM anymore. That's you.
The inward out approach is mainly you focusing on your creativity and how you can really harness that to your advantage. By doing that, you first have to take care of yourself as an artist. I really love the approach that she adopts because well-being is something that I've been trying to work on. What really drew me to this course is how she could take this approach and apply it to an artist's perspective.
I didn't expect it. When she first told me about the course, it was going to be some kind of creative focused course. I was like, oh, okay, cool, maybe it's like kind of teach you like creative techniques or like how to draw, how to edit videos. But after she told me about the overview of the course after the first lesson, I was quite surprised. I'm a more logical driven person.
He is.
Yeah. But what I really liked about this course is the introspective approach that they're taking. I mean, it makes so much sense when you think about it, right? Creativity is something that's so innate. You can't teach someone to be creative.
Yeah.
That's just not how it is. And when you're trying to cater your course to such a diverse crowd of creative individuals that may come from any field, from theatre, acting, all the way to playing musical instruments, to videography, and painting. It's such a diverse range. You can't teach really technical skills that may apply to everybody because that just doesn't make sense. Which is why I felt like the introspective approach was really inspired, and it makes so much sense when you think about it. Creativity is really so innate. To harness or to find that inner creativity, you really need to slow down and look at yourself, look inwards, take care of yourself first, and then your creative self can really come out and you can find that best self. Which is why I was like, wow, okay, this is pretty good.
Not a lot of courses teach you to focus on yourself first.
Other now in a COVID-stricken world, online courses are the new in thing. I win. I won that one. I won.
That I win.
I won. Anyway, yeah, online courses are really the new in thing. Everybody, okay, at least my algorithm is showing me everything like content marketing, digital marketing, copyright for social media, build your own online course in 48 hours, that kind of thing. And it's all saturated in a sense because they all teach you technical skills, which is useful. No doubt, definitely useful. I am taking those courses as well, and I do love picking up the technical skills. But this is the first time I've ever seen such an introspective online course. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I'm really so happy. What's really nice is how diverse everyone is. I missed the first coaching call, but I was watching the replay and we are talking about identity. I'll talk about this later as well. But everyone comes from a very multidisciplinary background. And it's really interesting how we can still relate so well to each other. Jennifer put it really nicely, like we're all very sensitive souls in a way. I've really got that kind of vibe from everyone, which is why I feel so comfortable with everyone. Jennifer just manages to draw these people to her, which is really amazing because I really relate very well to them. Basically how the program works is that we have 2 coaching calls a week and an e-learning course online. One
Learning track.
Okay.
So it's a 6-week program. Every week there are 2 coaching calls as well as about 4 to 5 e-learning video lectures which form one module which touches on one theme.
That. It's 12:23 AM, so my brain is kind of wonky. But this week, I actually missed the coaching call because I converted the time wrong, so in the end I still couldn't make it. I went for the other coaching call that happened on Friday, which was amazing. Everyone was so welcoming, and it was like, I just felt really happy to be in that space with everyone. It's a very safe community and it's really wholesome, which I've enjoyed a lot. Okay, the second part is on the materials that I've worked on. how it started off for the first lesson of Module 1, an overview of the course. There were two main things that I took away from this overview, which is about mindset and how to follow through on your creative work. Yeah, so following through on your creative work, many people in general, not just artists, we tend to do things halfway. Like, we get excited at the very beginning of the project and then we kind of like let it die out. Jennifer taught us some methods to complete the project that we're working on so we can reach the harvest season. For mindset, she brought us through 3 mindsets that may hinder us during this process. The first one was on telling yourself that I already know this, and the advice to combat that was to adopt a beginner's mindset. I do have a tendency to tune out when I've heard something again for the second time, and I think this was very refreshing for me. It really does hinder my progress, I would say. Conversations with everyone, you can really gain something if you try looking at it from a different angle, I would say.
Devil's advocate here, but I would say balance. You know, your mind, I guess, is a filter. And if you think you've heard something before, you think, oh, there's no point in me exerting energy on this task because I'm not going to gain anything from it, so therefore I'm going to conserve my energy and turn off. Which is maybe good sometimes because you can't always be on like super attentive hearing all the time. I would say keep an open mind, be aware of this mindset that may hinder you, but at the same time, if you've heard something before, maybe don't give 100%. You leave the door open, but
at least don't shut it out, because that's what I do. I just completely like,
yeah, nope. She just starts deleting her emails.
Oh, that is very true.
I look over, having class, oh, deleting, oh, I see.
Another tip she gave was to creatively reframe it. For example, if something isn't working out for you at that point of time, why not try to find a way to make it work for you instead of completely blocking that method out? Because definitely every individual is different and we all perhaps need to take different approaches to achieve a certain step. For how to follow through, I think what stood out to me most was creating a magical work container. Setting up an environment is very, very useful, especially in a time when we're all working from home. She was talking about how you could bookend that. You can start that period of time where you're working on your project with maybe like making yourself a cup of tea, and at the end of that set period of time you can perhaps do some yoga. So it's kind of bookending the whole period of time. I think that's very useful in demarcating that time in a way that takes care of yourself as well. She talked about 5-minute habits to incorporate throughout your day, and I've actually tried this before. Someone else has taught me how to take 5 minutes of your day and just commit to something, because in a sense that's making a promise to yourself, and people are more likely to follow through with it because it's just 5 minutes. I've tried it before, but it didn't really work. I try really hard, but I always get caught off guard by other things. Following what Jennifer mentioned about mindset, I still decided to give it a try. So some things I wrote down was yoga, doodle, coffee break, candle watching. Yeah, in the forum, because we do have, this was all e-learning. So in the forums, Sarah said she was feeling overwhelmed by the many habits that she already had, and building on more was kind of intimidating and just very overwhelming. So what Jay actually mentioned was having a list of these 5-minute habits and viewing them as a menu instead, where you can pick and choose certain ones throughout the day or whenever you feel like putting your 5-minute habits into practice. I think framing it as allowing myself to choose rather than having it as a habit. I don't know why, but my brain kind of thinks of it as more like a chore. Thinking of it as a chore, something that I have to do, turned me from implementing it. So I think viewing it as a menu is something that's been very helpful for me.
That's cool. That is some creative reframing.
Yes, it is. Another interesting thing that we explored during the e-learning module was about negativity and your inner fears. I think it's really relevant because we are our worst critics. Jennifer framed it in a really amazing way, which is the truth is that these thoughts aren't ever going to go away as much as we would like it to. And so she was talking about how instead of us trying to resist it so much, what if we actually let it sit with us and explore it and maybe somehow use that to our advantage? We actually haven't gone to the using it to our advantage stage yet, but the first exercise for this was just to explore our creative inner voices. It really hit home for me because I am extremely afraid of failure. Having to brain dump what my worst fears are was a very relieving process for me. I think these thoughts are always just like floating around in my head, and it was nice to get it out on paper. Everyone was very vulnerable in the forum as well. Something that really struck home was the fear of losing control of our emotions. I think this is why I say that we're all very like-minded. Many other individuals as well have gone through very tough, tumultuous times. This is what makes me appreciate this group so much. I think we can relate to each other's fears a lot. It's very raw and...
Okay, that was really brave. What a brave feeling.
Hello, we took a short break and we are back. I have a lot of interesting things that I want to say about this program. Oh gosh. Another lesson that was introduced to us was the concept of time. The most impactful question that I found was the concept of being in time. I'm always either thinking ahead or thinking about past things that I've done, and I'm never really in that moment. It's just a very bad habit. Like, I don't really notice how I'm actually feeling or being aware of how I am at that particular point in time. Life is all about being like here and the right now.
It's like Soul.
Yeah, it's like Soul.
The movie Soul. It's one of the themes that the movie touches on.
For me, it always felt like time was out of my hands because I will always have so much on my plate but so little time. Time is always out of my reach and I just never have enough time. So the exercise we got to do this week was a brain dump. Some people set a timer to do the brain dump, but for me, I kind of just wanted to clear my head of everything, and I just let myself write endlessly, and that ended up with 3 pages worth of thoughts that I've been collecting. For this exercise, you would just write literally whatever is in your mind, like either worries or your current thoughts or to-dos or anything that's on your mind. It was a really liberating process for me. It really gave me a whole overview of what I had to do and having a clearer idea on what was actually in my mind, because it's always like very floaty and they kind of like come and go. I think what was really interesting was how I could actually pick up certain thoughts that kept coming back. I could pick out like certain patterns that I found. It was interesting to see the common themes that popped up. I would just write down my thoughts and then my mind would go back to the same thoughts after a few scribbles. It's also a way to visualize what tasks I have at hand, and in the future when I do brain dumping, I'm also thinking of using that to sort of prioritize what I have to do, because I have like a huge clear overview of what I have to get done. So I think that was really helpful. There were also some like kind of more negative thoughts that came up as well in the coming weeks. There are 2 things that I plan to do. It's like either explore why these thoughts come about, like if I can maybe trace it back to something deeper and kind of do some self-exploration there. and also think about how to reframe these thoughts. So that should be interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to that. It was also a way to release like all the negative thoughts that was in my mind, and there's just something about penning these negative thoughts down that is very relieving and liberating, I would say.
That's good. It's like cathartic.
Yeah, it's cathartic. It is very. This was the coaching call that I missed, and I watched the replay of it. One of the discussions that I really loved was the idea of identity, because some people find it very restrictive to kind of label themselves as maybe actress or writer. Others found it liberating to be able to own the identity. For me, I recently just started on this journey, and I do sometimes still question if I can call myself like an artist. I do hope to one day like fully own it. I think right now I'm still figuring it out. Don't know if I can actually call myself like an artist yet, because I'm not 10k followers kind of large. And it's interesting how people can perceive this concept of labeling so differently. The fact that some find it restrictive for them, yet some find it very empowering. Sarah, if I'm not wrong. Fly. Sarah mentioned something really interesting during the call, which is that your identity is about the energy that you bring to your work. It's not so much about the work itself, but what you yourself as an artist or creator bring to the table. Hers is kind of like a more playful and like really dancey energy that she brought. It was very insightful to think about identity from the energy of what did I just say?
It's about the energy you bring to your work.
Yeah. No matter which art form that you do, you can always bring your own take to the table, which I think is very important. So Loy brought up this point about how she actually presents herself differently to different people. For example, she would present herself as an activist sometimes. She would present herself as a fashion designer at other times. In a sense, you're kind of shaped by those around you. And you present different aspects of yourself to different people.
I think it makes sense. I fully agree. Taking me as an example, I'm somebody who's enthusiastic about running, about cooking, also about photography, videography, statistics, psychology. We're all interested in a lot of different things, having many different hobbies. So you would present the most appropriate version of yourself according to the social setting. If I'm in a running club, I'm not going to go there and say, "Hi, my name is Ryan and I run a home bakery." Like, okay. Like that, you know what I mean? It's like, woo! The ability to highlight and put forward that aspect of your personality, I think in fact is an important social skill.
Agreed.
So I guess it comes hand in hand, like knowing yourself and knowing how to read the situation. And then...
Nice. Those were the parts that excited me a lot about the coaching call that I missed. Just softly and go. On to the co-working call. We had a co-working call on Friday, and that was the first time I attended the live session. It was really nice because everyone was so welcoming, even though I was a newbie. At the beginning of the call, we did a short meditation first to kind of check in with ourselves what we wanted to do for that co-working session. We went into our breakout rooms, and as I mentioned previously, everyone's really diverse. And so while I knew exactly what I was going to do, I was really feeling very excited to edit my video. What was interesting was Jay wasn't clear what project he wanted to do during the session. So what he actually came out with was to do a digital decluttering. I don't know, I was just so amazed by the fact that people can bring so many different points of view. It's not really a point of view, but a different take to things. Like, I would have only thought about doing projects itself, whereas he thought of digital decluttering. I don't know, it just makes me so happy to be part of such a diverse group of individuals. Typically for me, I really do not like studying with people. A lot of students do like going to libraries and stuff, but I really just have to stay at home to study, and I need to be alone or like with him.
Honestly, I distract her so much, but she tolerates me. It's true. So you're gonna deny it? See, she's not denying it, she's just laughing. It's true, she just tolerates me, that's it. I realize I'm being annoying when she stops responding to my jokes on my funny videos. Like, alright, I'm being dumb and distracting. I'm gonna stop now and let her do her work.
Yeah, there's only basically the option of me working alone or working with him. But for this, I just felt so at ease and I was really in the flow. It was just the kind of thing like once I started, I didn't want to stop. I think it's something about like the energy of all of us. Yeah, it's just how everyone was working on things that they really genuinely wanted to do, and it's not seen as a chore. Like sometimes studying can be seen as a chore and people are like very frustrated while doing it. Whereas in this case, everyone was really like in the flow and we're all working on things we loved. Perhaps that was why the whole co-working call experience was so different from like my normal studying with people experience. Halfway during the co-working call, Jennifer got us to take breaks. Something I learned was the importance of taking intentional breaks, to step away from what you're doing for a while, to take some time to stretch your body. Jennifer was mentioning this, that there are times where creative ideas will just like pop into your head when you're doing these breaks and just stepping away from what you're doing. I'm not the kind of person who takes breaks. I'm very bad at taking breaks. Like once I start something, I just don't want to stop ever. So the fact that she got us to take breaks is very refreshing. I'm definitely not used to that yet, but I do want to try setting more intentional breaks and just taking the time to wind down for a little bit. I think that really helps going back into the thing that you're doing. Like I used to think that taking a break will kind of break my workflow, but I realized that I went back feeling like, ooh, I want to do this again. Yeah.
A while back I did some research about creative problem solving, and it's very true what the coach mentioned about creative ideas can very often come to you when you're not actually actively engaging with your creative work. I'm sure all of you are familiar with shower thoughts. You know, you have your thoughts when you're showering, you're just like, oh, that's a genius idea, but then you kind of just forget it, you know. And it kind of stays in the shower, which is a pity. But giving yourself that space and being available to those creative thoughts that can pop into your head is very important in the line of creative work. The second thing, breaks. The importance of breaks is also something that I'm actively exploring. In my past, I have been very good at taking breaks and very bad at focusing. But now, I kind of have a better grasp of how to focus, and which is why I'm trying to also be more disciplined in my breaks, but not only in stopping, but also starting, like she mentioned. Being intentional in where you place your breaks and how you start and stop your breaks is extremely important, especially if you're going to be doing long hours in a day. You can have like 4 hours of like bomb-ass work, but if you're going to just be burnt out for the rest of the day, then it's probably better if you had spaced that 4 hours into like 1 hour chunks, 1 hour blocks instead, where you took, you know, 10-15 minute breaks in between. Yeah, I'm trying to explore more into taking breaks. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it's about sustainability, to go on for a longer period of time instead of like powering through and then just like crashing and burning.
Yeah. Sustainability and balance.
Yeah. I wish this could go on forever. Yeah, it's been a really interesting experience focusing in on myself more. The whole environment was amazing. The participants really made the experience even better.
Does it spark joy?
It does. Keeping it forever. I'm just really looking forward to next week to see what we have in store, and I'll keep you guys updated. looking forward to learning more from Jennifer and from the rest of the Playfully Brave community. Just super excited. So that's it for week 1. It was a really fun week, but it flew by so quickly. I just wish I had this every single day. So stay tuned for next week's vlog. He will probably make a reappearance. See you in a week. Hopefully, if this video comes out in time, in a week. Bye!